Hey, welcome to the Patrice Brantley Show. And on this show, helping others is the name of the game. And on this show, we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Chelsea, who's going to talk with us about what are the next steps after you've been laid off. Y'all know I've been getting this question for the last week or so, where people have been saying, "Hey, Patrice, what do I do? How do I handle this?" And y'all know we handle the mental health part of this. But I wanted to bring in an expert to talk to you about practical steps that you can actually take so that this can be not just a process of, oh, I got to start over again, but it's a process of I can start over again and I can win. That's the push for today. All right. So I need you all to come on in, give me a big hand clap, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Come on, y'all. Give it to me. Give it to me. All right. And let's welcome Miss Chelsea.
Hello, hello.
It is so awesome, Sauce, to have you come sit in with us today. I'm looking forward to hearing all of your expertise. I know we all are looking forward to hearing your expertise, right? Because so much is happening. We've heard about the layoffs with the government. We've heard about the layoffs with Starbucks, and I don't even drink Starbucks,
Right.
okay? So now all these people who got hooked to their coffee, what are they gonna do? So now let's talk about what are the next steps. I want to jump right on into it. So the first thing I want to know from you is what is the very first step someone should take if they start to feel that push or pull, either before they get laid off or after they get laid off, to say, yeah, I need to make a change. So if they come to you and say, hey, I got this feeling, I need to get prepared, what do you suggest for them to do?
Yeah. So it's understanding why you feel that way about your current career. What is pulling you towards a change? And thinking about, is that something can be changed? Is it the people that you're working with? Are you feeling overworked by your current administration, by your company? Is that the problem? Or is it something that's just innate in the industry? Is it too fast paced? Do you feel like you don't have the room for creative freedom? Is it too slow and you want something more creative? Or say you're working in a role as something like an accountant or a doctor where you can't make mistakes and you want that room, you want a little bit less structure. So just thinking about, can I be happier in a different job with a different company, or is it just the industry as a whole that's just not for me? So understanding the difference between what's pulling you away.
I love how you broke that down in the area of when you got this feeling. Is it that the job is too fast, or maybe is it too slow? I never thought about that. I always hear people saying it's such a fast pace. But what happens when you're still there and you have a 8 hour day worth of work and you're done in the first 3 hours?
You're,
Something's wrong,
you're
right?
dragging your feet. Yeah.
So, and I love how you even talked about having this space of really powering up, of knowing, is it the industry that's for me, or is this a job that's so pressure filled that I can't afford to make
Yeah.
mistakes, right? So I love how you talked about that. I need you to hit this because everybody has been talking about question number two to me.
Mhm.
And there, everybody loves to use the target word, transferable skills, transferable skills. So I want you to help somebody out right now. I really
Yeah.
want you to think about this person who is coming to you. They've been in this job for 10, 15 years. How can they first identify their transferable skills? And then what should they do to look at some other industries that may match that skill?
Yeah. So the first thing I'd say, and I'll probably say this a lot as we continue to talk about things, but don't sell yourself short. You have skills. You have skills that you might not even have thought about. So it's really just thinking about your day to day. What do you do in your job? The little things that you might not even realize that are skills. Like teachers, for example. You're not
Mhm.
just a teacher. You may be a project manager. You deal with a lot of administrative work. You deal with so many technologies in the classroom like PowerPoint, Excel, even Outlook, Kahoot, Nearpod, all of those things. And then even just in an IT sense, your monitor goes out, your computer is having issues. A lot of the times you have to fix those things yourself. And you may just think, oh, it's part of the job, but it's really just, again, thinking about what you do every single day and listing out where those skills come from. And then, even as a sort of an example, someone
Mhm.
maybe worked in finance or wealth management, and now they're switching over to something related to healthcare. Those can seem completely different, but thinking about it, you still have customer service skills. You're still familiar with helping people. You're still familiar with communication and working on a team. And those things you have to identify and realize those things as well.
I love how you gave the breakdown for the teachers because I know a lot of teachers are right now saying, hey, I'm in this season of either getting ready to do tests with the kids, or I'm after the holiday season going, what's my next? Or as somebody explained to me earlier this morning, they were told, hey, due to budget cuts, we're moving in a different direction. This is what's going on. So I love that you gave that teacher
Yeah.
example. So here's the next one, and I think this is more so mine, but I'm gonna throw it out here to you. What's that mindset shift? The
Mhm.
mindset shift that is essential for this person who's leaving a long-term career and now they have to pursue something new. What would you say they need to do and have as a part of their mindset shift?
So, understanding that you won't know everything and that you will be the new person and you'll have a lot of learning and you'll be confused and you have to ask questions, which may be uncomfortable at first, especially if you were with a company for a decade, over a decade, where you knew everything. People were coming to you, you didn't have to go anybody to ask questions. Just understand that you'll have to do a lot of learning again. You may be confused, and also just the job market today may be different than it was in previous years. A lot of companies use a lot more technology now. That's something to understand. So just really knowing that you'll have to learn a lot of new things.
So I hear you talking about being open to new things. And I love how you gave the example of you're not going to be the new kid on the block again.
Mhm.
Sometimes we get so caught up in, I've been in this career for so long and now you want me to learn something new or you want me to do something new. One of the things that I love to tell people, find the young one in the room. I know it sounds bad, but find that young one, that 20-year-old in the room, and let them be the one that guides you through the technology because they know the shortcuts.
Yeah.
They've been using this all their lives. They know the different tricks and tips they can actually teach you. You're
Yeah.
not asking them to teach you the job. You're saying, help me with the tools that I'm going to need to be successful in this job.
Yes.
So I love that with the mindset shift. Can't y'all tell I'm getting tongue tied today? Y'all just work on with me, okay? Work on with me. So I want to know when you look back, because I know that you've been in this field for a good little while. What's the biggest mistake people make when they try to change careers, and how can they avoid that mistake?
So I'd say not doing research, which also leads to
Mm,
making a lot of assumptions. So you might think, okay, I'm ready for a career change. I'm going to go into finance or technology because there's a lot of money from it. But you have to consider you might have to start from the bottom and you might not be making a lot of money at first. Or if you're leaving your career because it's really stressful and you're unhappy and assuming, okay, once I get into this new career, I'll automatically be happy. But really, all jobs, they have stress, they have deadlines, and nothing is going to be easy. They might be easier than your current career, but nothing will be easy. And then I think sort of avoiding that goes back to what we talked to before about what is it in your current career that you dislike? And that can sort of guide your research. Instead of just researching, oh, what is this career like? You're looking for specific things. You're looking to see what the company culture is like if that's what you didn't like to sort of guide your research. You're looking for the opposite of what you can have now so that can help you out. So I say like research is the main thing to do.
And I think that's awesome how you say that because, you really hit on something, company culture, right? So many times when you're in the midst of looking for that new job, we research the job. We
Mhm.
want to know what the details are, right? We may head over to ONET online to find out what's the day to day of that job. What does it look like? What are the skills I need to know, right? We get that piece, and you brought it up exactly perfectly, not knowing what that company culture is. And,
Yeah.
I find that on this side for me in the mental health piece, I'm now dealing with people who are trying to readjust to I left a job during COVID, I hated it for that, but now they promised me the moons and the stars and I don't really like it over here either.
Yeah.
So I do think, like you said, that research is key. I think that's a major piece. Now, here's the next one that I'm even learning about, networking. You
Yeah.
know, how does networking help you to be successful in pivoting in these careers now? Because depending on what career you had before, it was more so, hey, I have the knowledge, I don't have to really network. But now, how do I kind of transition into I need a network? What does that look like?
Yeah.
What is the role that networking truly plays for you being successful in your pivot?
So, networking is great, especially when you're switching careers, because you can really explain to people what your situation is versus a resume. It's just, I've done this, this, and this. It doesn't really explain who you are as a person, how you got here, your passion for certain things, where
Mhm.
networking can. And then the person that you're speaking to, if they're in the same situation as you, if they've had a career change, if they were in your past role and now they're in your dream role, if they had your past role in any sense, they might be a bit more understanding. So just talking to them, asking them what path they took can get you a lot more information. They may give you insights, they may give you other resources to stuff you had no idea about, rather than just because research is great, but also talking to a real person who's done the exact steps that you're looking to do, they can give you information that may not be available online.
So I love how you talk about getting that information. Now, here's what I've noticed in networking circles,
Yeah.
right? People get here and everybody's passing the
Mhm.
card. Do you think that's wise to just pass the card, or do you think it's wise to kind of integrate it with the conversation?
I would say definitely integrate it because a lot of people, especially if there's someone in a high position of power, they may be used to people just seeing them as an opportunity rather than a person. So first, just talking to them without even introducing the fact that you're looking for a job or talking about your career so far, just talking to them as a person. And people love to talk about themselves. So especially asking, how did you get to where you are today? That sort of thing, the conversation will feel a lot more natural, and then maybe they'll ask you, or towards the end of the conversation, oh, this is my situation, this is what I'm going through, I'd love to connect with you. And then maybe even trying to set a date from there, just really talking to them as a person rather than just seeing them as an opportunity.
So I love how you brought this out because I think this is a great point. I think it's a very pivotal point. I'm going to reiterate on it. You really talked about, in my words, you talked about building that relationship first
Yeah.
before trying to seize the opportunity. And I think we're in such a space where people are so quick to not even necessarily build a relationship. They just want the opportunity. I love how on LinkedIn, their thing is, you know what, connect with the person. But once you make that connection, keep the conversation going. You know, there are so many people that I've seen on my feed and on other feeds that, yes, they're making a connection. The person is glad to have them on, right? Because it builds your numbers and it looks good,
Yeah.
but you also want to be able to take some time to kind of build that connection. Hey, how was your day going? I'm not saying this is a everyday building connection, but at
Yeah.
least dropping in on a holiday. Hey, how was your holiday? Is all well? Giving people something to know, kind of that warm fuzzy as things are going and growing in your life. So I love that piece when you talk about it. Now, here's the big one that I've been seeing a lot of on my side. And for those who know, if you head on over to the 3S movement, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about because we do EAP services and we talk a lot about having that healthy work environment. So I need to know from your side, what does it look like when people are trying to find the difference between I'm looking for a new career
Mhm.
versus I'm looking for a truly healthy work environment?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people think the new career is going to equal the healthy work environment when it really could be two different things.
Yes. Yeah. So that's really just comes down to researching different companies, different districts. If you're a teacher and that's your issue,
Mhm.
if your administration is the issue, again, that self reflecting, researching, okay, the company I'm at, the work environment is hostile, my administration is what's
Mhm.
making it stressful, I'm working overtime and I'm not being compensated for it. Researching other companies, even using social media, people on TikTok, Instagram, those sorts of things who post about, hey, I work for this specific company and I really like it, that sort of thing. So just seeing if your role can be changed and adjusted working with somebody else or under somebody else, and then seeing if it's time for a new career. I feel like there are signs that might be different for every single person. So that could be you're letting it impact your personal life, you're letting it impact your mental and physical health, or even just in the career, you feel like you've maybe climbed the ladder, you've reached the top, there's no more room for growth, there's nowhere else for you to go. And the only way to continue your professional development is just moving on to a different career.
I love how you broke down the difference between that new career piece and the healthy environment. I'm going to give a piece of advice in that area real quick, if you don't mind. I
Yeah.
love when you talk about the healthy environment. The one thing that I have found most companies are doing after COVID is they have in their and on their website as well, on their website and in their handbooks and things of that nature, once you get on, they have a section that's dedicated to mental health. And it talks about whether that company supports, if you have EAP options. But what I also love is it talks about if you need a mental health day, how
Mm.
it's handled. It's not this thing of, well, don't take a day off. No, take your day. There are companies who encourage you, take your day because we want you to come back and do more. We want you to be able to be that productive employee, not just for numbers, but because we want to actually invest in you as the employee, not just as a number at the company. So I definitely think that's a great one. Okay, your best tip. This is a good one. Your best tip for building confidence after you leave the career where you were considered an expert.
Yeah. So this really goes back to what I was saying before about the transferable skills and not selling yourself short. You have the skills, even if they're not directly related to what you're going into. If you're going into a career that's not exactly similar, you have a fresh perspective. So say you're going into something that's a little bit more related to business. Someone who's worked in business for 20 years versus you who haven't, you've seen the other side. You've seen the less administrative side. You've seen the more customer side. You may have sort of complaints or things that they can do better that they might not have even realized because they've only seen one side of it for so many years.
That's a good one. I never thought about seeing that. If you had to give one resource right now, and I want you to think about this one really well. If you had to give one resource, whether it's a book, whether it's a course, whether it's connecting with a mentor, what do you recommend people to have while they're in the middle of a career transition?
And I thought about this one. I have a few different ones, but I would say the main one would be the 3S movement because of the amount of resources that you guys have. It's not just specifically career counseling, it's also the mental health aspect of it. Why do you want this career change? How are you feeling right now? Can we slow down? Can we take a minute? Can we work through different workshops? And also getting, again, that different perspective, meeting with people who are outside of what you're going through that can give you a new perspective as well. I really like that. And yeah, different workshops, those sorts of things. And then also getting resources that, the team has researched. Because I know going online and just searching up, I need a career change. What should I do? Can be a little
Mhm.
bit overwhelming. So having someone who can present those resources to you in a little bit of a cleaner, easier to digest way is really great. And I feel like it's a lot more well-rounded too, because like there's other resources like LinkedIn, different certificates that you can get, but those are all specific things that you can seek out rather than speaking to a mentor or a coach who can sort of like guide you through those things in a more packaged way.
I love how you even talked about that because now I'm like, okay, I see this. And what I love about it is you talked about having that mental support because so many times we forget whenever you're in a midst of a transition, you need somebody who's saying, okay, I'm here with you. I'm walking with you. I got you. I see you. I know this is a bumpy time, but we're going to make it through. And a lot
Yes.
of people don't think about that. And I do love how you even incorporated when you talked about checking out on LinkedIn and other things, find out those events, those workshops, those key things that's going to help you walk through it.
Yeah.
So here's one thing I want you to give advice to three different sets right now of people.
Mhm.
I want you to give a piece of advice to that 18 to 25-year old of what they can do to help themselves thrive after their career change. What do you think you would give them? What would you say?
So, especially with that demographic, I would recommend if you've finished your university before, if you have any type of schooling, visiting their either alumni center or their career center. There's a good chance you can still connect with them as an alumni and use their resources. So, a lot of stuff in your university, they're not just for students. They may have alumni resources helping you get back on your feet with your resume and those sorts of things. And then understanding, especially that young, that you may know what you like and what you don't like in a job, but there's so much stuff that you don't know as well. There may be an industry that you've never thought of before, but now you can research it and it's like, oh, this is so much better than anything I thought about during college or the past couple of years. So really just keeping an open mind and seeing what's out there.
So we got that demo and they've kind of worked in the college space. But what do I do for my late 20s to my
Mhm.
early 40s? What happens with them? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying before, not selling yourself short. You have a lot of work experience, you have a lot of skills. You've worked in a time that maybe didn't have as much technology as it does now. So you've worked with a lot of advancements, you've adapted, those sorts of things. So again, just understanding what you do every day, especially in that demographic where they're most likely likely working more full-time jobs and part-time jobs and they're working for salary, they might be doing job tasks that go above what they were initially hired for and doing stuff that's above their role. So just understanding, even if it's not a part of your specific job task, if you're doing things to help other people that you may not be recognized for, acknowledge those things in interviews, on your resume, within yourself. Just acknowledge that you've been doing a lot.
That's a good one. I think you brought up something that I had never thought about before. I think we're so used to what's our defined roles on that paper,
Mm-hmm.
but many times you go over and beyond to do certain things and don't
Yes.
realize that should be included on your resume too. Matter
Yes.
of fact, if not just on the resume, even in the interview, hey, talk about that if they're connected to a question you're talking about.
Yeah.
You want to get into that. And now I need you to go into my older group, because here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing a lot more older people stepping back into the field. I'm noticing a lot more of our elders saying, "Hey, I want to continue to stay busy," or "Hey, the finances I had at this point I thought were covering everything are not." What would you suggest for them? Because now they're coming into a world that they've never known any technology.
Yes.
Any type of advice for them?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, never, just in case there's this stigma that you're never too old to start a career or there's nothing that you can't learn. Even with technology in my role, working with different like career consultants, with students, alumni, that sort of thing, they think,
Right.
oh, I'll never be able to learn this. I'll never be able to understand this. And that's not true at all. There's tons of resources online, people in your community that can help you out, even if it's something as simple as understanding, writing an email, creating a PowerPoint. Those skills might seem simple, but having those and learning those, you might be better than someone else with them. So just learning that technology is definitely important. And there's definitely ways to learn, understand it. It's never too late.
I love that piece because, you know, as we get older, you want to always have that thought process. I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly growing. So
Yes.
I love that piece. Listen, you've given me so much that I'm over here like, wow, this is amazing. Come on through with a good word over here. Listen, I have to give this last thought moment because you have just given me so much. I feel encouraged just hearing this because so many people are in a space of what do I do? This happened, and I on my end, I've been on the thing of don't panic, don't
Yeah.
blame, don't shame, accept and move on to what's next. And I really think you gave us some amazing tips on now how I'm moving on, what's my next. And I don't have to feel handcuffed to my past. I now get opportunity to pursue a new future that may look different and open a new chapter that can be a better, that will be a better chapter. Let me not
Yes.
say that. It
Yes.
will be a better chapter. So I just want to thank you. Oh my gosh. So y'all come on, give it up. I want to thank you for the time to come in and sit with me today and give me some awesome sauce information. You are more than welcome to come on back to this platform and give me all these goodies that you've been giving me. So listen, y'all, please make sure y'all take the moment, check this out. If this interview was amazing for you, take a moment and share this with someone else. I'm going to take a second and I'm going to scoot on over and I want to talk about joining me for the next episode, y'all. I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in, being a part of the Patrice Brantley Show. And I want you to make sure that you let everybody know on this show, this is where we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.